it's Mandy Brasser from Streamline for Success, and today we're going to talk about engaged versus unengaged and how absolutely critical this is to split out, to communicate to your list right now, to make sure you're improving your email deliverability. So let's get started. So as mentioned, it's Mandy Brasser here from Streamline for Success, and today I want to talk and give you some examples about how we have engaged with our list differently and sent out different communications depending on how engaged or unengaged they are. And this really is applicable whether you are using a tool like Infusionsoft or Keap or something else, because I'm sure in whatever platform you're using, there's ways in which you can identify these contacts in your list. So why is this really important? So you may recall back in the day, there was sayings around, the money is in the size of your list, or the money is in your relationship with your list. Well, now it's really about how engaged are your list, because really the people that are more engaged are going to get more emails delivered, and you need to be really mindful about that so that you're not over communicating to the people that actually really don't want your stuff. So I want to give you an example, because back in 2019, I heard this concept of actually splitting out and sending to these two groups on your list differently, and I thought, why not? I'm just going to see how it goes. So I firstly kind of want to mention too, engaged is really about those people on your list who have filled out like a web form, they're clicking on your emails, they're opening emails, maybe they've purchased a product if you've got like an e-commerce platform integrated. So they're kind of doing those core things. So they're considered more engaged in what you're sending. Whereas the unengaged, it's been some time, maybe it's been potentially 4 months, depending on how you've got it set up in your system, how long it's been since they've actually taken one of those actions. So let me show you the example we did back in 2019. And it's really talking about this engaged versus unengaged group. So this is our test. So we looked at a particular segment of our database and we offered them a free Infusionsoft membership. So you can see we did deliver this via Campaign Builder in Infusionsoft. And again, it doesn't matter what system that you're using here, the principles still apply. So you can see up the top, we had an engaged group and then we had an unengaged group. So let's have a look at the stats that we achieved out of, firstly, our engaged group. So you can see there, 52.6% of people opened that email from the engaged group. And we had a high click-through rate because of the great offer that we put together. Awesome, right? And then on the second email that we sent out, we had a 43.7% open rate on that. Now, depending on your deliverability rates, your industry, how frequently that you're sending, all those things, this may be good or bad for you. This, it's relative to how the sends are going in your list, right? But for us, this is a really good send. I'm very happy with this. And the other thing just to note here, no matter what system you use, the open rates are always not going to be fully representative, because people can just preview an email and not actually download for the pixel to actually count that it's an open. So this is on the lower end of the possible scale of everyone who's opened. So based on that, we've got a 52 and a 43% open rates on both of those emails. What percentage do you think we got on the unengaged group? Obviously, we had a smaller list, and you could argue this is not statistically valid anyway, because there's not a huge volume of contacts going in here, but let's just pretend that we do, just for the purpose of this example, because these are still real results for the segment of this particular list. So we actually got, let's look at the first email, we got a 5.4% open rate to our unengaged group. Same email. At the time, we did the same subject line as well. We sent them at different times, but that wouldn't have necessarily had a huge impact on the results anyway. But a 5.4% open rate, which was significantly lower, right, than the 52.6 we had from the engaged group when they got the same email. And then let's have a look at the second email. We got a 9.7% open rate. To me, that kind of indicates that we probably had a better subject line in the second that resonated hopefully better with this group. So that's something to keep in mind, because really that's what this open rate is about, your subject line. So what does this mean and how does this help us? Now, really, knowing that we've got a group that are engaging with our content and a group that doesn't engage as much or as frequently with our content, then we need to think about how we are communicating to those groups of people. And the group that are engaged, you probably do want to send them more frequent emails than those that are unengaged, because if they're not really interested, if you keep on bombarding them with lots of emails, it's probably likely that they're going to unsubscribe, mark you as spam, basically opt out, which may not necessarily be a bad thing, because if they don't want your stuff, you probably don't want them on your list anyway. You don't want to bombard people who don't want your material. But it certainly has helped us to identify these two groups of people and make sure we do really consider how frequently we're going to them and the messages that we're sending to them as well. So you might be thinking, well, this is back in 2019. Have you got some other results? We certainly do. So we also did a test in 2020. And this test was really about sending a broadcast. So for those Keap or Infusionsoft users, you'll notice this last one was in Campaign Builder. This is sending directly from the broadcast functionality. Again, it doesn't matter which tool you use, whether you're using a different platform, we are still applying these same principles when we do a send out to our list. And I was pleasantly surprised that we have improved on our unengaged stats, which is fantastic because we have been splitting this audience out. So for our engaged group, you can see very consistent here. This 53% was pretty much in line with what we had with that last one, right? For the 52 point something percent, I've forgotten already. So really great result, really happy with that, 53%. Now for our unengaged group, now I was pleasantly surprised, I'll be honest, that we had a huge jump. We had a 20% open rate for our unengaged group. Now, before, as you saw, we had a 5% open rate. So I'm putting this down to a couple of things. I'm going to make some assumptions here. So we will need to test this out as we continue to split our sends to our list to see how we go here. But a couple of things I think, obviously I think the subject line was quite good, considering at the time of this send going out, it was related to the coronavirus, and hopefully this is a far distant memory when you're watching this recording. But I think the subject line was quite good for us. But also we had been cleaning up our list, and anyone who wasn't in that category anymore were removed, and people have obviously moved from that unengaged group of people to engaged, and we'd done a few other things in the back end to kind of clean things up. So I think that was another factor. One of the third factors here is that being at this particular time in history, a lot more people are at home, a lot more people are looking at their inboxes than probably being outside and busy socializing and doing all those fun things that we now have to do at home. So I think that may have also had a factor to play here. But the principles still apply. It's very, very important to continue to split these groups out and monitor them. Because really, as I said before, if you continue to bombard your unengaged group, it's not going to help your sender reputation at all if no one is opening or clicking, engaging with your content. So I hope those examples have helped. We have done this with many clients, and I had one email me last month, I think it was, and they were ridiculously impressed with the results as well, and just starting to split this out so they can continue to communicate to their list in different manners depending on whether they're engaging with their content or not. All right, so it's Mandy Bresser here from Streamline for Success. There's some additional videos on how you can actually apply this if you're an Infusionsoft or Keap user. We've got some instructions on how to find these people in your list and how to actually do a send to them so that you can track, and some other reports that you want to have a look at to continue to get some visibility and monitor your progress on how does your list, what makes up your list, what percentage of engaged versus unengaged. All right, thanks so much. Check the details below this video for more information, and I'll chat to you soon.